Hey guys, this is John from US Dash Camera. Today got a review on the Vantrue N4. Now this one was a long time coming due to the coronavirus stuff going on the last few months. I had sort of been putting off doing reviews. I wasn't out driving as much. I was working from home for a little while, but I am back in my office working and trying to get back to normal life as much as possible. So I actually have been testing this one for several months, but I did run into some issues which I will go over in this video. So let's talk about the camera real quick and what makes it so special. Some of you may know of the Vantrue N2 and the N2 Pro, which I did review both of those, or at least the Pro version. Can't remember if I reviewed the original. But what was unique about that camera and what made it so popular, especially with Uber and Lyft drivers, is it was a camera very similar to this, looked like a cylinder, and in addition to the front camera, on the back of it, it could rotate a rear camera inside to record inside of your car, and it had infrared lights, so even when it was nighttime, you'd be able to see what's going on in your car. So that's why it was so popular with rideshare drivers. Now this one expands on that by including a very similar camera with front and rear to record inside of your car, and obviously here a third channel to record out your back window to record behind your car. So this is the first 3-channel camera system I've used, and I was very excited to try it out. The N2 and N2 Pro were pretty decent cameras, had pretty good video quality, but some people didn't like some of the missing features of those cameras. For one, the N2 and N2 Pro did not have a supercapacitor. A supercapacitor is better than a battery in a dash camera because it can resist the really hot temperatures during the summer or really cold temperatures during the winter. And another thing it lacked was Wi-Fi, so there's no smartphone app. Now, what's great to announce is that this one does have a supercapacitor, so it does have the extreme temperature resistance. But unfortunately, this does not have Wi-Fi still, and that's a little disappointing because this camera is $260. Now, I would like to point out that I did receive this from Vantrue. They sent out this as a review unit, so I'd like to thank them for sending it out. And this camera does have a parking mode, but it doesn't have buffered parking mode like Blackview or ThinkWare or the newer Viofo cameras. So I wasn't able to test out the parking mode. They said you needed a hardwiring kit. I believe you could test it out with just connecting the power source to a portable battery, but regardless, it's just like their old parking mode where if it senses motion or if it's off and it senses an impact, it boots up and starts recording. So your recording starts immediately after, and you're not capturing 10 seconds prior like in the buffered parking modes of those other brands I mentioned. So it's, it'd be nice to see that in the future, but for now this camera still does not have buffered parking mode. So now let's take a look at the camera itself. As I said before, it is a cylinder shaped design. So in the back we do have that rear infrared camera that can rotate up or down. On the bottom we do have an IR sensor, so when it detects that it's dark, the IR filter turns on. On the side we have a reset switch, the memory card port, the rear camera connector, and an HD video out. On the top we have a menu and emergency record button, an OK button, a mute and left and right buttons, power button, and up top you can see the connector for the suction cup where you connect the power cord. So this is what the suction cup looks like. It is a pretty nice suction cup. There you can see where it connects via a USB-C connector, which I really love. This is the first dash camera I've used that uses USB-C. You will see when the camera turns on a picture-in-picture with rear 2 camera angles on the top left and top right. So the menu is pretty basic. Of course you have all your settings such as resolution, language, timestamp, things of that nature. It's pretty typical, just like most other dash cameras. And as I said before, there is no Wi-Fi, which is a little disappointing, but since it has a screen, you can change any of your settings on the camera itself. And if you needed to, you could view your video files directly on the camera's screen. So the rear camera is a little unique because it has this separate connector, so you could leave your camera up on your rear window and remove the main cable, but I'm not sure why you would do that. So it connects sort of like a headphone jack. So the rear camera is also USB-C, which I again really love. I'm glad to see dashcam companies are starting to switch from micro USB to USB-C because it's a much better connector. It does also come with a USB-C data cable in case you wanted to connect the camera to a computer. And the power supply is just your standard cigarette power connector, and it does have an extra USB port on there so you can charge your phone from it. So now let's take a look at the video footage. Now when I first got this camera, I was really disappointed with the video quality. Two rear cameras looked fine, but the front camera looked really blurry, and it seems like it was focusing on my dashboard and not anywhere beyond 30 feet in front of my car. So I was watching a lot of other sample videos online, and I came to the conclusion that something was wrong with mine. So I did reach out to the Vantrue representative, and they sent me out another one, and I'm sending out I already sent back the old one. So they're going to take a look at it and see what they believe could be causing the issue, because I did send them a clip and they agreed that something was wrong with it and it wasn't focusing. So the new one does look much better. It's not going to be the best looking video quality out there, but you have to remember that this is a 3-channel camera. So the front camera is actually recording in 1440p while the two rear cameras are still recording in 1080p. So that takes a lot of processing to record those 3 different video samples at the same time. So you're going to see better video quality in single channel cameras, but that's where this trade-off is. Some people, including me, I don't go without at least a 2-channel camera anymore. I want, in addition to the front camera, I always want to be recording out my back window. Now, I'm not an Uber driver, so I don't have a need for recording inside the car, but, you know, it could come in handy for certain situations. At night it looks pretty good too. Again, people are probably going to point out some other camera looks better, but we can't compare apples to oranges here. I was happy with the front channel's video quality during the day and at night. Now, inside of the car, of course, you're not going to have to read license plates. You basically just have to be able to make out people and see what they're doing. And of course, this camera gets the job done. No issues whatsoever with that. Now, the rear camera I thought was okay. It isn't, again, definitely not the best rear camera I've seen, but it, again, gets the job done. So I tried very hard to get people at night to come up behind me, but because so few people are driving at night right now because of the COVID-19 shelter-at-home order, I was driving around for 15-20 minutes at a time at night, and there's just no one would come up close to me except this one car that came somewhat close to me, but they parked so far back, or stopped so far back. It wasn't a great example, but I think you can tell just overall from the brightness or the quality of the night picture that it is adequate. It's not the best out there again, but it should please most people. So overall, I'm very happy with the video quality of this camera. Having 1440p front and 2 1080p rear channels for inside your car and behind your car is an excellent option for not just Uber drivers, but anyone that wants to be able to record inside their car also, but don't want to use multiple cameras and multiple memory cards. Overall, I do wish there was Wi-Fi and a smartphone app. I think most of my favorite cameras have that feature, but it's not necessary, and if it's going to keep the costs down, I guess that's a trade-off. And again, I do like that they added the supercapacitor, because that does show that they are listening to feedback and improving the cameras where they should be. So hopefully in the next iteration, if there's an N4 Pro, maybe they will add Wi-Fi finally. So if you are watching this video, you probably already are aware of this camera and just wanting to see other people's opinions. And I would say if you're considering buying this camera, definitely go for it. The only reason I would say not to get this is if you really want a buffered parking mode camera, and you're going to have to look at something like a Blackview or Thinkware, but currently Blackview and Thinkware do not offer any sort of 3-channel system like this. They only offer 2-channel front and rear cameras. They both offer some models that have the IR camera that can record inside of your car, but then you don't have the rear camera recording behind your car. So that's the trade-off. So guys, I hope this review was helpful for you guys. If you like this video or any of my other videos, of course, I appreciate if you hit like and subscribe. I do have a review coming soon of the new MyGecko Gear Orbit 960 Ultra HD 4K camera, so look out for that pretty soon. If you are interested in purchasing this camera, of course, check down in the description to where you can purchase this. I always have Amazon and Blackboxmycar links. I do also have coupon codes for my viewers to get discounts on your purchases, so check that out down below. As usual, drive safe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.